Now in its 9th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, this is Alex, and this is the Ramble. We go till midnight tonight. Gee, Larry, the last time we were on, we had a lot of fun talking about death. This is Larry Brown, by the way, folks.
So this will be a death-free show.
Should this be a death-free show? You know?
I guess people do get annoyed with it. But.
You know, well, I mean, when you're speaking of death, you know, every now and then, this is true. This is absolutely true. And I don't tell her this, but it's true. We're sleeping at night, and Marjorie is sleeping there, and she's dead still. Okay? So basically, I feel various parts of her body to see if she's still warm.
Jesus.
You know, because she's so out of it. You know, and I go, wow, you know, but I, you know, one of us is going to go first, and we don't know who, you know, and she's not that much younger than I am that, you know, she can't go tomorrow, so whatever, you know, it's depressing at this age because you're sitting there every day, you wake up and you go, is this the day, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And you do that probably at your age.
I did that when I was young, but you've avoided, you almost drowned, and then you were also in a plane crash.
I was in a plane crash. I mean, I don't talk about this that often because it was so debilitating to me. No, it wasn't really. What happened was I was with, there was this writer for the Oakland Tribune. What was his name? I can't remember his name now.
Bill Mann.
Bill Mann. And Bill Mann said to me, I just got my pilot's license.
Yes. I just got my surgeon's license.
Right. You're going to be the first person I'm going to operate on. Yeah. No, but I got my pilot's license. And why don't you meet me out at the Petaluma Airport? There's an airport in Petaluma. And I will get in a plane, and then we'll go over to over to Vallejo and land the plane there, have some breakfast, and then come home. And I said, well, that sounds nice. You know, it's always fun. When people ask me that day, what did you do? Well, I got in a plane, we flew to Vallejo and had lunch. You know. So I meet him, and we go to, he takes off, and we go to Vallejo, and we get our lunch, and then we get back in the plane, and he flies back to Petaluma, and we come into the airport, and it seems as though the Petaluma Airport is one of the most dangerous airports in the country because there is a natural wind shear that happens at that airport.
Was it Petaluma or Novato?
Novato. You're absolutely right.
No, Novato is notorious for the crosswinds.
That's it. No, that's the one. Okay.
Yeah.
They call it wind shear. And you're right. You're so good. I forget things and you don't. I'm going to carry you around as like a... people have these service dogs, you know. You could be...
Well, I know pilots that have flown in there. The crosswinds are horrible to land in, and the runways should have been built in a little different direction. That's part of the problem.
Yeah, well, he hit the crosswind as he was coming in, as he was landing. Now, an experienced pilot would know to just gun it and take back off again and then come around and try it again, right? He didn't know that. So he just tried to land the plane, and the plane got pushed off the runway onto a side runway, and then almost a couple of feet from a building that was there, and then stopped because it hit a ditch. And I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me. And then I'm thinking, I'm not even going to try to move because I may find I can't. You know, you don't know what happened to you. So I opened the door to the plane, which was to the side of me. I unbuckled my seatbelt, and I turned around. I got out of the plane, and I was fine. And so was he. Both of us had bruises on our arms and things like that. But we had survived, literally. That's surviving a plane crash, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was thinking after that of renting myself out to people who were afraid of flying and going on long trips with them in airplanes, because what are the chances I'd be in 2 plane crashes? So I'd be your guarantee against a plane crash.
Who's the author of William Michener?
James Michener.
He survived 3 plane crashes.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Well,
that's got to be a record.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, and I got to tell you,
one. That's amazing. Was anybody screaming during this?
No, there was no screaming. We were just.
So he was calm.
I don't know if he was calm. I don't know what was going on inside of him because he just got us into a plane wreck. Okay.
But you knew something wasn't right.
Yeah, but he got out of the plane too, and people came running to the plane, of course, to see if we were okay. And I was okay, and he was okay. We had some, as I say, some bruises. I went home. The next day I woke up, every bone in my body ached. Because I'd become this giant, what do you call it, cushion. And I had survived the crash, but every bone in my body was aching because I was using every muscle in my body to, you know, push against this crash. So that was how I remember it. But I said, you know, I'm sorry, I'm never going out with you on a plane again. He says, I don't know if I'm ever taking one up ever again. And this was his first solo flight without an instructor or anything.
Did he fly after that?
No, he never flew again.
Really? Wow.
Never flew again. Well, you know, I would imagine I would feel the same way if I had gotten a pilot's license, gone up, and all of a sudden the first thing that happens when I'm alone is a plane crash. I mean...
that is kind of an omen.
It is an omen, like, don't do this again. You know.
Jesus God.
It's kind of like, you know, what's happened to me. I went out a couple of weeks ago. I had this just terrible fall. I tripped and fell, and I've done that a couple of times. Have you ever trip and fall at your age?
Yeah, sometimes when I'm running. Yeah.
Yeah. How bad is it?
It's a horrible feeling. You're worried you're going to break something, and just falls at. Well, our age can be deadly.
Well, I mean, this has been quite debilitating to me. But the thing that really worries me more than anything else is I'm afraid to go out for a walk. I'm afraid I'll fall.
Yeah, well, then you break a hip and.
Well, I have pretty resilient bones. I mean, the falls that I've taken. I could have. Marjorie's taken falls and broken knees, hands, whatever, you know, as a result. Me, my bones are pretty strong all the way around. But I get this fear of just taking a walk. Sometimes I'll take a cane with me, not because I need it, but because I want it in case I fall. You know, that I'll have something to at least break the fall. But lately I haven't been going out with it, but I'm afraid to go out for a walk. I used to love walking, you know.
Do you know what caused your fall?
Yes, tripping. Basically.
Usually sometimes like a break in the sidewalk.
Well, you know, the sidewalks in New York are literally, every one of them is trying to kill you. You know, because up and down, little cracks in the thing, and all you got to do is hit one of those. And if you don't have the balance you once had, which is my case because I have neuropathy, you fall. Now you then try to break the fall, and in one case my knee went sideways, and that was the biggest problem. Then I had two big bruises on my other leg where I'd been wearing shorts. If I hadn't been wearing shorts, it probably wouldn't have been as terrible. But they scraped across the pavement and I still have marks there, So it was not fun, and it kind of like really turned me off to walking,
Well, it definitely scares you from it, sure. I mean, when I run in a fall, it's just I'm afraid to run for the next few weeks. So.
Yeah. So do you fall that often?
It's usually about once a year, and it's always you always throw your hand out, so your hand gets scraped, and then it all hits your knee. You always get burned in the same places.
And what happens? You usually trip over a bump in the road or something like that.
Yeah, exactly, or a tree root or something.
Yeah. But and you enjoy running. That's really a regular thing with you.
Yeah, keeps the weight off, so it's good.
And they also say that it's probably walking briskly or running are the two best exercises you can have.
Walking is probably the best because it does less pounding to your system. So yeah, if you can walk, that's a great thing.
Yeah. Wow.
Like Harry Truman and Bob Hope would take an hour walk at 4 in the morning, no matter where he was, any city.
No matter where he was.
Said he'd walk in the most dangerous neighborhoods an hour at 4 in the morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he lived to be 100. So.
Oh, okay.
And Truman was into his 90s. So.
And Truman jogged?
Always went for a long walk every day.
Long walk. Well, walking's fine.
Yeah, walking's the best.
They're all very good for you. I also heard that swimming is probably great. It's a great low impact exercise.
Yeah.
And I used to love swimming. I can't tell you the last time I've gone swimming, however. But I know I still know how to swim. I'm not worried about that. What worries me is that I don't know how to drive anymore. It's been so long since I've driven a car.
When was the last time?
I would say 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago. We went up to Burlington, Vermont, and I rented a car.
Well, you wouldn't forget, would you?
Well, I don't know if I would forget. I'm worried about two things, okay? I'm worried about the fact that maybe I have forgotten. And, of course, you got all these new gadgets in the cars, I mean, I understand that there isn't a car being made today that doesn't have a push button to start it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm used to sticking a key in the steering wheel, steering column, and turning a key and having the ignition go. So that's for beginners. Then you've got this whole panel of lights and everything going off with GPS, which I had a GPS in my car, but it was an early GPS. But, so you've got all this gadgetry. So I don't know how I would feel with all that gadgetry, if I would feel comfortable with it. I would have, 20 years ago, but because I could adapt to new stuff much easier than I can today. I mean, I don't know. This is all about getting old. I'm tired. We shouldn't talk about it. What did you do for Thanksgiving?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Well, we exercised that little thing. But did you go?
I have a good Thanksgiving memory. My favorite Thanksgiving was 71 was D.B. Cooper.
Wait a minute.
About him.
Wait a minute. You had Thanksgiving with D.B. Cooper? What?
No, I just think of him because I thought that was a great because he did that.
He jumped out of a plane.
Hijacking on Thanksgiving of 71.
Oh, was that it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm 71. But otherwise,
brilliant plan he had.
So that was your favorite Thanksgiving, was it?
Yeah, remembering D.B. Cooper. Who they never found.
They never found him. Everybody.
They did find some of the money.
Did they find some of the money? How much of the money?
Some of the money washed up in the Columbia River, yeah.
Oh, really? Well, he jumped out of the plane with the bag, right?
Uh-huh.
Did he have a parachute?
He had a parachute.
Okay, so he had a parachute. So chances are he could be alive today. They never found him.
No, although he did jump out in the middle of nowhere in the night. It was pretty...
Yeah, but he still
I think
could...
the FBI was going to send him a bad parachute, and then he sent him a note saying, I'm taking a stewardess with me. You better send 2 good ones.
Oh, okay. Did he take a stewardess with him? No.
No, but he tricked him by saying that.
Oh, okay. But they were going to give him a parachute with a hole in it or something, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's a sweet idea.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy only robbed a bank. He didn't kill somebody, all right? So you're trying to kill him?
Mm-hmm.
What, over money?
Yeah, that doesn't seem right, does it?
We have no sense of proportion in how we deal with things. I mean, there's a lot of argument about what's going on in Gaza as not being a sense of proportion. I mean, when 1,200 Israelis are killed, and then you go out and kill over 10,000 Gazans, 4,000 of them being children, is that disproportionate? Is that I mean, how far do you go to make up for it? So do you put a hole in a parachute of a guy who just robbed a bank? Do you want to kill him, or do you just want to get your money back and put him in prison?
Yeah, because robbing a bank, you wouldn't get capital punishment.
No, but why he jumped out of a plane in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere? I see a field down there. Now I'll jump. Go. Bye. See you later.
Yeah, he jumped in the northwest woods.
They never found him. They never found him. Not remains, nothing. Just the money, as you say, floating in the river.
They found a few. He took $250,000. I think they found like a couple of thousand.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, there you go.
He jumped out the 727s had a rear exit door, and he had him lower that door at about 10,000 feet, and he just jumped out.
Oh, boy. Even jumping at 10,000 feet, don't you have trouble breathing up there?
We wouldn't have trouble breathing, but I mean, in the middle of the night, I think it was raining too and windy. It's just been a nightmare scenario.
Why didn't you just say, take this plane to Cuba? That seemed to be the thing people were doing back then. But this was up in the Pacific Northwest, right?
Yeah, well, in 1969, there was over 40 commercial hijackings in America.
In 1969?
69.
Yeah. There are how many?
Over 40, and they said it became so common it was not even front page news.
Yeah, yeah. You don't hear about hijackings that often now.
No, they have sky marshals on board, so it'd be...
It's and you can't get into the cabin. Can't get into the pilot.
No, cabin's locked, yeah.
Yeah. And they're also bulletproof. It used to be, you could go to the bathroom, and if you opened the wrong door, you were looking into the pilot, But
yeah.
They did away with that. They made sure you couldn't just get in that easily.
Well, the night we were doing a Breakfast with Bennett Christmas show at the Fairmont,
yes.
1987.
Tell them I remember this.
PSA went up and shot the 2 pilots.
A PSA flight went and shot.
From L.A. to San Francisco.
From L.A. to San Francisco. We brought up a whole bunch of advertisers to watch this show, kind of as a promotion for the station and to get in good with the advertisers. And we put a whole bunch of them, 10 of them, on a PSA flight coming up to San Francisco. The flight we put them on went a little late. Let me put it this way: if we put them on the plane, one plane earlier, they all would have been dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how close it was.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was just terrible. But we would have lost a lot of advertisers, and you can lose a lot of things in broadcasting. Don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose sponsors, okay? Because
That's a
they
permanent
died
loss, yeah.
because you put them on a plane that was hijacked and then crashed. But that was a major crash, wasn't it? As I remember it. I mean, they were.
Oh yeah.
It was. You don't hear about hijackings where. Well, what do? They force the plane into the ground?
He just went up and shot the two pilots, and it just so the plane went out of control.
Wow. Yeah, but I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, it was a sad story. There's one stewardess. It was her first flight.
Oh boy. Oh well,
I'm surprised Bill Mann wasn't the pilot.
And she could have lived to be my age and then say to herself,
Yeah.
what was that all about? Come on. I mean, why have I gained all this ability? Well, I don't know. I don't have that great amount of ability, but it took me a certain amount of craft to be able to do what I do, right?
Yeah.
Why did I learn all that? In the end, it's not going to mean anything. Oh, few people will remember me lovingly. They will look at their newspaper. Oh, guess who died? Alex Bennett. Remember when we used to listen to him? Yeah, I really liked his show. He was pretty good. Oh, I'm so sorry he died. That's about as far as it's going to go. And with you, it's going to be... You know what I did? I was watching old Letterman stuff, and they had Rodney Dangerfield doing top 10 things or something that he would like to be able to do. And one of them was have sex and then leave immediately. And I looked over at Marjorie. I said, Bub's line is better. Tell him
sneaking out without paying.
Sneaking, yeah. One of your favorite things is having sex and sneaking out without paying.
I would have given that joke to Rodney. Yeah, it is better, right?
It's better than his joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and can you imagine Rodney delivering your line? That'd be the lifetime thrill.
That'd be a high point, yeah.
Has anybody ever heard a joke in your act and then bought it from you?
I think I did sell a couple back in the day, but I can't remember what they were.
Because you write a lot of one-liners.
One-liners, which are people don't buy one-liners; they just steal them. I think mostly.
Yeah, because
nothing you can do about it.
Well, I was mentioning to Marjorie that being a one-liner comedian is not it's not a particularly. Is it a difficult task being a one-line comic like you are? Is it
just
hard?
It's remembering all the jokes is hard, and Dangerfield said that too. So.
Yeah, but that's the most of it, because what happens is the great thing about being a one-line comic is you can do a line, it can bomb, but there's another one coming after it.
Yeah, just keep them coming forward like gunfire. So,
yeah, so the audience says to themselves, well, that wasn't very good in their mind, but the next one will probably be better. And many cases, in your case, it was always better.
Well, thanks. Well, you kind of get this rhythm going, and like Dangerfield in an hour show would do close to 300 jokes.
Really?
That's a lot to remember. Yeah.
Really? Well, how many do you do? You do about 20 minutes, right? 25 minutes?
I do 20, so it's probably close to. I would guess 80 or 90. Yeah, you do 4 or 5 a minute. So
now, what happens if you've had to headline, haven't you?
I have. Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, and that means you have to do an hour, right?
At least 45. Yeah.
At least 45. So what do you do when you have to do 45? Do you have enough material for 45 minutes?
Not one-liner, so then I had to break it up and do maybe some longer stories, which kind of destroys the rhythm, which doesn't...
Because that's not the nature of your act. The nature of your act is one line after another.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because I remembered you. I said to Marjorie, I said... They only, you're a one-line comic. You got guys like Seinfeld. They're not telling one joke right after another. leading into one thing that leads into another
Right,
thing.
they're long, almost stories. Some of them.
Then you do.
I don't think there weren't many one-liner comics in San Francisco, as I recall.
And I don't think you ever do callbacks, do you?
No, I should, because those work well for
Callbacks,
comics.
by the way, in case people don't know what we're talking about, is you're calling back to a joke you've already done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then people laugh because, you know, you're calling back. And the joke you may have done originally may not have been a great joke, but the callback is a great joke. So, whatever. But anyway, hey, listen, we've run out of time. I love talking to you, Bubs.
It's flown by. I don't have any more falls, so we got to keep you healthy.
Yeah, you got to keep me healthy so we can keep doing this every week. I don't know how. I have to count. I counted once how many of these we've done because I have a copy of every one of them. And I think it came out to something like 250.
Jesus, really?
Really a lot. Yeah, I'll let you know next time. I'll do it.
Okay, I'd like to know.
I'll send my research team on that.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Bubbles Brown. Thanks, Larry.
Bye-bye.
Now in its 9th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Yes. Okay. I'm a little high up here. I could lower myself. But see, as I sit here, it gets lower and lower. So, what the hell? Hello, everybody. How are you? Good to see you. How you doing? Yeah, it's Alex, right. Well, yesterday I told you about we were starting a new intersection with Amy Manuel. And last night she had problems, okay? So if you were frustrated by the last night, I think, and I'm just saying this. Oh, wait a minute. Let me turn on the lamp. There we go. That looks so much better. So much of a, we seemed to fix the problem. What it was is that she was doing the show. She'd play her theme song. You couldn't hear her play the theme song. And then you couldn't hear her talking to the panel who was on Skype, okay? Simple little deal, right? You would think, okay? But you couldn't hear her, and that was that. Let me see, where were we? There was other stuff that we needed to deal with. She couldn't, so we couldn't get it working, okay? So, I don't know, it may have had something to do with the fact that there's a little company called Microsoft that has a tendency to want to keep changing things up. And they'll like do something to upgrade your Microsoft Windows, right? And in the process, they flip switches and stuff that you've already got, you know, so I figured it out. And I figured out the problem today because she was still having the same problem, couldn't figure out why she was having it. And so in my dotage, I seem to still be able to be a problem solver of this sort. And I figured out what it was. And then she did what I told her to do. And before you know it, it's all working. So tonight, that's me crossing my fingers in case you're just listening to the audio. She should be okay tonight. So give it a listen, okay? I think we're going to be okay. Plus today, I also did one other thing. You know, I'm losing it. I really am. I mean, I have to admit it that I'm losing it. And I made up this new graphic for the show, right? Let me see here. Do I have that graphic? Hold on a second. Let me see if I have that graphic here. Is that, no, that's not it. No, is that it? There we go. That's the graphic. Okay. What is wrong with that graphic? Yeah. Come on. Have you figured it out yet? Wednesday through Friday at 11:30 p.m. Yeah. That was 11. I was supposed to say, it was supposed to say midnight. But of course, because I've lost it and I've got Alzheimer's or some other kind of thing where you can't remember crap, I put it down there at 11:30 when it was really supposed to be midnight. So anyway, I wanted to redo that graphic because it's a pretty ugly graphic. I just didn't like it. Okay, and the picture of her does not do her justice. So I went back and I did a new graphic, which I don't have here, but you can probably see anywhere of a number of different places, at which I'm trying to think of where you could go to see it. Well, on gabnet.net, it's kind of a squished up version of the graphic. But anyway, I changed the graphic, and much better looking graphic, and it says midnight. Okay, and everybody was getting so upset with me because they were going, "What? You're gonna go until 11:30 every night now?" You know, I went, "No, that was me. I screwed up. Please excuse me." All right, but anyway, that's what's going to be happening with her tonight, and I hope, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, it's going to work okay. I do want to thank her regulars for sticking around last night, and some of them were falling asleep, and just seeing her through all of this, and that's loyalty, and I really appreciate it. And you were a great help last night. But we'll discuss that a little bit later with people. But let me see here. There we go. Okay, who's waiting to go? Oh, look, we got a couple of good people waiting. Outside of that, nobody. But anyway, let's admit them here, and I will go to the. There they are, coming into view now, as we want to do. There's Brian Neary is in the dark, and what you see going by him are lights. Are you on your way home, Brian?
Yeah. I just left about 30 minutes ago. So right when I get home, it'll be 9 o'clock. So it's perfect timing.
Oh, I see. Okay, 9 o'clock, which would be midnight our time here. Okay.
Yeah. I just left Load. I had my last presentation at 6:30 and 7, and then on the way home.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you for joining us tonight, in spite of the fact that we're just hardly going to see you tonight. You know, unless you go through some major metropolitan area, in which case you'll be shining up like crazy. But
no.
Yeah. And there's Josh. Hello, Josh. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Yeah, and that's the entire list of people that we have here tonight. You know, this has been a very funny week. The listenership is down precipitously, and is there anything going on, like sports-wise, I should know about? You know,
Nothing in particular. Kevin had to travel today, and he was going to be back, but he got in some really heavy traffic.
Yeah.
In the Sacramento area, and he was going to take him along. He's probably just now getting home.
Okay.
Based on what he was saying. So he was saying by the time he got home and unloaded and everything, he would miss it. But we were looking good for tomorrow. But yeah. So I know that's what was up with Kevin.
Yeah.
Patrick, he's just a scared little bitch to come on here, so he won't come on. So
what is he scared about coming on here? I mean,
I'm just kidding him, but I actually don't know what he's doing tonight. But but I don't know about everybody else. Those are the only ones I can testify for.
Because we all get together, you, I, Patrick, and Kevin, on the weekends and do a little Zoom with each other. And then I weasel out about an hour in because I'm a tired old man. Okay, I'll use my age as the excuse, and then they can continue to go on talking to each other. And when I leave, they immediately start talking about sports. You know,
sometimes, yeah.
Well, because you know that if I'm there, I'm not going to join in on sports. Although, why don't we try some week? We can start off with a sports discussion.
No problem.
Huh?
No problem.
Yeah, and I will somehow try to join in with all the expertise that I have as Sports Emmy Award winning Alex Bennett.
Works for me.
Yeah.
But I'm here tonight because I don't believe in excuses, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
When you work for Gabnet, You work for GabNet.
Yeah.
Your attendance policy is very strict.
Yes. You miss 2 meetings. That's it for you, pal.
It's in the employee handbook.
Yeah.
Read it.
Well, Brian, does this out of the real goodness of his heart because he's driving right now. But then again, he has nothing to do, right? When you're in the car, you really have nothing to do.
I know that this will make the time go by quick.
Yeah, it'll help.
And and last night I got rid of a hooker for you guys, just to be on.
Yeah, I know. You were staying in a hotel overnight down in where were you? Where's your company?
In Lodi.
In Lodi. Lodi. And you live in where?
San Jose.
San Jose. Oh, okay.
About an hour and a half drive.
About an hour and a half drive? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's quite a drive for you. How many days a week do you do that drive?
3 days a week.
Oh, 3 days a week. Wow. Because I used to work for a company in Sacramento, California. After I was through with at Live 105, I went to work for my friend up in Sacramento at Play Incorporated, and I told him, well, I can't do this every day, but I agreed to do it 3 days a week, like you. And driving 90 miles up and 90 miles back, which is, 180 miles, every 3 days a week, gets to be a little daunting,
Yeah, mine's 97 miles. So, yeah, it's about the same.
Yeah, same round trip. And it kind of gets a little daunting. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, and I'm against traffic. So when I drive in the morning, it's like a parking lot going into San Jose area.
Mm-hmm.
So it's against traffic, but still it's long. But, I always have something to listen to. So
no, all those,
if not, I have some podcasts or something.
And all those trips, have you ever gotten a traffic ticket?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because
I've seen some crashes happen around me, near me, and just in front of me.
Yeah, but that's just because you're a lousy driver and they're trying to avoid you, and then they.
Yeah, I caused it.
I had a real. I was, what was I going to say now? I forgot completely. I was going in some direction, and then I forgot where I was going. Hi, folks.
What about traffic?
I'm going to be 84. That's the excuse. Okay. Yeah. Am I too old to be on a program like this? Should I just pack it in at 84?
No.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Well,
adios.
I don't think so.
No.
Because I was telling Amy today when I was talking to her about all this stuff and trying to fix things. I said, I just hope that I'm dignified enough to know when I should exit the stage. Because some people...
You're not there.
I know. Some people are... You know what it is, though? You don't know when people are there too long. And I'll tell you why. We were discussing this, too. That, for instance, Tony Bennett had Alzheimer's. Full-on Alzheimer's, okay? To the point where he couldn't remember certain members of his family, things like that. That kind of Alzheimer's. Yeah. The minute you started playing a song on the piano, he sang any lyric you threw in front of him. So he could get up on stage. He could do a whole concert, all right, and then go off the stage and not even know where he was. I mean, so somehow we were talking about there's this. How can we put it? A thing that happens where you kind of go in on remote control, because you've been doing this all your life, and so you know how to still do it. I think I probably still know how to do this. To a certain extent, not as creatively as I once did.
Yeah, I saw. I mean, I know he just passed, but I saw an interview maybe about 6 months ago with Norman Lear on the CBS Sunday Morning News.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was 100 at the time, and I mean, he was completely. I mean, he sat for an interview.
Well, he was unusual in that fashion.
Right, yeah, but I mean, he was.
I mean, at 100, if I'm still alive, come to me and see me. You'll find a doddering old fool.
Yeah. I mean, actually, Kissinger was doing regular speeches and interviews right up until about a year or so ago. at 98 and 99. I mean, and some people he was always hard to understand. So
Yeah.
his age didn't have anything to do with it. He was always a little mumbly or whatever, but he was still doing television interviews and meeting with people, and he still gave talks and things like that. So, I mean, there are people that keep it all the way till the end, really. I mean, Jimmy Carter. I mean, I know he's in really, really bad shape now, but
listen.
I think 5 years ago, when he was in his 90s,
he has a terminal disease, Jimmy Carter. It's called aging.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
and the fact that he's going to be 100.
Yeah, right. I mean, but just maybe 5 years ago, you could have done an interview with him, and he could do it.
Did you see that picture though when Obama and Michelle went to visit them?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
Yeah, and the picture is Obama and it's Michelle, and there's the two of them sitting in a chair, and they look like 5-inch tall dolls. They look like two dolls sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
But she was really old. She was 96.
Yeah, right.
And I'm sure he's going any day now, because when you have a marriage that long and all of a sudden,
he did look in the one picture that they put out from the funeral, because I check in on the Carter Center and library a lot on social media, because I follow almost all of them. And I did see the picture, and he does look really bad.
Well, he's 100, okay?
Well, right, that's my point.
Yeah.
I mean, he just, but
I'm saying the reason he's going to wind up dying, okay? Very simple why he's going to die, is because she died. They were together.
It's a thing.
How many years? They started dating in high school?
6 or something?
Yeah, it's an amazing amount of time.
All right. Yeah.
And when you suddenly lose a mate after that time, then the other partner dies very soon after that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's pretty common. It's happened in my family.
I mean, if it happened to me with Marjorie, I'd go on living for another 20 years. But anyway, thank you very much, folks. That was a joke. Don't tell her I said it. Okay.
But he, like I said, even just 5 years ago, though, when he was in his mid-90s, he was still doing interviews. I mean, he wrote 3 or 4 books in the decade that he was in his 80s, I believe.
Yep.
After the age of 75, for sure.
I have one of those books autographed by him, because I interviewed him.
Yeah, that'd be a great thing. I mean, he probably had 2 or 3 at least. So,
in fact, there are 2 times that I had him on my show. Once in San Francisco, and it was by phone, and it was my birthday, and he wished me a happy birthday. Somebody apparently told him it was my birthday, and he wished me a happy birthday. And I felt very privileged that the President of the United States, former President of the United States, had wished me a happy birthday. And then he came to Sirius, and they decided they would let me do the interview. One of the few times they'd let me do an interview of that sort, because they never understood me they never understood me there. They never understood me at other radio stations. But anyway, I interviewed him. And I just said, this is the first time I've ever interviewed in person a former president of the United States, and it's just wonderful to refer to somebody not by their name but by Mr. President.
Yeah.
I said, would you like me to do that? And he said, if you'd like. Very nice man, just a wonderful man.
Yeah, I mean, from all accounts, and I know a fair amount about this. Like his term in office or his politics or not, setting it aside, he's probably one of the most genuine people that's ever been.
Somebody once referred to him as the best ex-president there ever was.
Well, he certainly did himself well after his term, for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, regardless of whether or not you think that his term was successful, and let's face it, it wasn't, a first round draft pick term or anything. I mean, that's fair, but he was one of the most, genuine people and nice people. And I tell you what, I think he's one of the few politicians certainly presidents, but one of the few politicians that ever served that went around during the campaign, or it was well known that he was a professed and practicing Christian who actually was a professed and practicing Christian.
Right.
And I happen to know that a decent amount about that. I mean, I think a lot of them say it because they think they're expected to or whatever. But I know that he was.
I often said the best line I ever heard from an ex first lady was Rosalind Carter. She was being interviewed by somebody, some religious radio station, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
And the person who was interviewing her at one point said, "By the way, have you been born again?"
Yeah.
And she said, "No, I got it right the first time."
Yeah, they were pretty good. I mean, and again, kind of like with this politics, even if you think that, the religion stuff is hogwash or whatever, okay, fine, fair enough. But as far as it went, I truly think that he's one of the only ones who didn't just say it. I think that I know that he practiced it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I remember I read the Reverend Billy Graham's autobiography, I don't know, 10 years ago or whatever, and he had a chapter in there on each president, and he basically said that he was the most genuine Christian man that he had ever met in politics, even though he did not care for his politics. He just said, "I'm just talking about his life as a Christian." He was very.
It's amazing that you have to say that because it's really By the way, where is everybody tonight? There are not any people listening there are some, but not a lot, and not a lot of callers. So and I don't know. I don't care. I just do this because I enjoy talking to you guys. But no, the fact was that he was genuine. And he was truly religious. And what I was going to say is, it's not too hard to be a Christian. All you got to do is go to church once a week and be nice to everybody. Is that too hard? Is that too difficult? I mean, the most difficult part is having to, find the right church where you're not getting bored by the guy giving the sermon. But outside of that, outside of that shopping around, it's pretty easy to be a Christian. It's even easier to be a Jew, by the way, I might add, unless, of course, you live in Israel. But it's easier to be a. Well, wait a minute. It's easier to be a Jew because there's really nothing you have to do. You don't have to go to church. You don't have to do anything like that. So, well, here comes Tony.
But yeah, he was pretty. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Brian. I forgot. Go ahead.
Brian?
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I had my hand raised, but maybe you didn't see. Yes? Hello?
Yep.
So I think all the stuff that I remember him as ex-president is, working with the humanity,
Habitat for the Humanities.
Habitat for Humanity. And that's, all of a sudden you'd pop up and he'd be, building houses and doing all that stuff.
Something?
Seems like of ex-presidents, he's like one of the ones that really, say, hey, I'm done with being president, but I still want to do something good for my country.
Well, something I got to tell you. He actually made Habitat for the Humanities because, he used to go and build those houses and stuff. But they would report on him doing it, and that's when most of the public heard about Habitat for the Humanities, which is, just an absolutely wonderful organization.
He was, and like a lot of people's grandparents of that age or whatever, he was also actually a pretty talented woodworker.
Yeah.
He built a lot of chests and cabinets and coffee tables and things because he liked to do it. And I watched this interview a few weeks ago where he was saying, he made a thing or two. This is, 20 years ago or so. And somebody said, you could auction that off and get a lot of money for it because you made it, And he said, and I thought that was the dumbest thing ever. Who would want to buy something I made? I'm just me or whatever. And they said, well, you could get a lot of money for that and, give it to one of your charities. And then he thought, well, okay, I guess that makes some sense. And he made some chests and things that went to auction and sold for, like $10,000 because he would make it and then he would would scribe his name on the inside of it somewhere, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was authenticated, and he raised hundreds of thousands of dollars making.
No, he you know,
things like that.
but he walked the walk. You know, he didn't just talk the talk. You know, and that's terrific. It's just
and I
terrific.
mean, even for people that if you didn't, you know, politically agree with him or whatever, I mean, at least, you know, I don't know, had some belief that he was at least working for America, whether you thought all the policies were good or not. I mean, I think that's obviously where we got to with Trump, is we all just think he's a fraud, you know.
He wasn't a great president, okay? Well, but he was a great human being.
Yeah.
And that's what was incredible about him, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and I don't know how involved he'll get, but I think that, you know, in 20 or 30 years, I think many people will look back and at least say, well, you know, Obama was a pretty decent human being, you know? You know, he was no drama Obama, right? You know, I mean, you know, especially with what we've had to live through the last 4 or 5, 6 years, you know? I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, you know, he didn't completely do something every day that made you roll your eyes, you know? I mean, so, I mean, isn't
it amazing that we're sitting here talking about a man who was a really decent human being, and as a president, respected the job he had to do. Maybe he didn't do it well. There are some questions about his abilities, but nevertheless, we're talking about this guy like this, and look at what we had as a president in Trump. I mean, it's just a shame that we can't have another person like that in office, you know?
I agree.
And I really fear for this country, and I'm going to tell you why I fear for this country. The recent statements by Donald Trump are just scary. You know, they're just basically spooky. You know, I'm going to be a dictator on day 1. I'm not going to do it on day 2. Listen, there's never been a dictator in history who was a dictator from day 1 who didn't suddenly decide on day 2, I think I still want to be a dictator.
Yeah, like you know. Can I ask you a question, Alex, to you too, and everybody there?
That's Tony, by the way, and we've been joined by Jeff, and we've been joined by Alan. Hello, all. Yeah.
You know what I don't get, guys. Even, you know, I was going to ask you this, Alex. Me and my brother were talking about it. We can't get over the cult of personality that is Trump. How is it possible with all these debates, none of them are just, other than Christie, saying, "Hey, listen, he's got to be here." Yeah, it's like there's no rules for anything.
Well, I'll tell you about Christie. I read it today. I've got to go find it. But supposedly in this week's debate, which I didn't watch, they said he did something like 10 of the best minutes any person has ever done in a debate. What are they referring to, Brian? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I think, like I said last night, he just kept challenging everybody. You know, from answering questions and not answering questions when they're easy, simple questions that they're asking, routing around everything. You know, DeSantis telling about his military background instead of just saying, "Are you going to bring troops to, you know, Ukraine or not?" And then him going after the other guy, you know,
Ramaswamy,
going after him. You know, saying, "Well, that's what you do at these debates. You say all these things away from here, then you come here and you change your view, and then you say I never said that." He was leaning into everybody. It was awesome.
Yeah. Did you watch it at all, Josh?
No, I did not.
Yeah. See, I've got to go back and see if I can find it, because they say that Christie, it was one of the finest, something like 5 minutes or something that anybody has ever done in a debate.
Yeah, I mean, I heard some clips and some.
He's sharp on both.
He is sharp. Yeah.
Yeah, he is sharp when he talks.
Analysis.
Yeah.
You know, and he's a.
But they'll never vote for him. You know why? They've never voted for a guy that fat since Taft. Yeah.
Really? I mean, I like him, really, to tell you the truth.
Huh?
Yeah, I heard some analysis on it. You know, some of what he said, so I'm familiar with some of it, and they have him on Morning Joe, you know.
Why this guy doesn't gain some kind of traction because he's ballsy is beyond me. But, you know.
Is that a New York thing, or do you think New York or Jersey doesn't translate to the whole country, Alex? Is that it? I think he's being honest, really, to this degree, and they just don't like it.
Well, I'd like to say New York doesn't translate into the presidency, but then again, Trump was from New York.
Good point.
Trump,
Yeah, exactly.
but Trump is not atypical a New Yorker, okay?
No, he hasn't shot anybody yet.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
Those people-
I would assume that the issue with Christie and the polls is just that there's not that the minds of people are made up, you know, for Trump. That there's not really people looking for someone to vote for. They already know who they're going to vote for. You know, it's just going to be a matter of who goes and actually votes. You know, so I mean, to me, I don't know that there's that many registered Republicans who felt the need to tune into those debates because they said, I don't know yet who I want the nominee to our party be. I mean,
Well, if you asked most Republicans who they
Yeah.
want as their standard bearer,
right.
neither people from either party want the ones who look like they're going to be the people who are going to be the standard bearers.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the Republicans, while they will vote for Trump because they're Republicans, don't really want Trump to run, and Democrats now really don't want Biden to run. Not because Biden's done a lousy job. Bless him, I think he's done a better job than anybody wants to give him credit for. All the metrics are good where Biden is concerned, but the public doesn't perceive that. You know, as far as the public's concerned, like I went out to the grocery store the other day, and I go there occasionally. I never pay attention to prices at a grocery store. I just buy what I got to get, and I leave. Right? Well, all of a sudden, Marjorie's going, "Have you seen the price of this chicken?" It was like one of these roasters, and I looked at it and it was like $25. And I remember when I used to buy those things for $10, and that wasn't too long ago. Okay, it's not like I'm talking about when I was a teenager, you know. So, I mean, I look at that and I go, "Geez, Almighty," you know, that's really something. And when that happens, people blame that on the president. It's not the president's fault, but they blame it on the president. You know, they blame it on greedy grocers who are charging higher prices because everybody says prices have gone up on everything, so they raise the prices on everything. Am I right, Josh? You know?
Yeah, I mean, economics to me is oftentimes a fixed game, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you know, I mean, I've never really believed that, you know, gas prices need to be where they were because the supply and the demand, a horse shit.
Well, everybody
that
is
way because they know
Yeah.
that you don't have a choice but to buy it, okay? You know.
But everybody is raising prices on everything because they say, well, the economy is, you know, prices are going up on everything. So everybody is raising their prices. The one that's getting me now are all these, what do you call it? Online services like Netflix and so on and so forth. All of them are raising their prices.
Yeah,
And you're
they're
going, why? You know, you've got, I think it was Disney's got something like 110 million subscribers. You can't make money off that $10 a month that you're getting from everybody?
Yeah.
Come on, give me a break. If you can't, you got a problem. And plus, you're making the movies for the most part. So they go to the theaters, you make the money off the movies, and then you put them on Disney Plus. What's the expense? You know, but the same thing's true of, who was it? Well, Apple TV raised their prices $2. Okay. Then we got, you got Max, which I get for free because I get AT&T. But Max raised their rates to where, well, here's how they raise their rates. I like it with no commercials, okay? So I pay for the no commercials. Well, I would pay $15.99 a month for no commercials on Max if I were paying for it. But I don't get You ready for this? I don't get 4K for that.
Mm.
You have to pay almost $20 to get the 4K. I mean, they're just raising the rates everywhere. Everybody's saying, "Oh, I'm so poor and we're going to go broke if we don't raise prices." Netflix, for crying out loud.
I canceled Netflix for a couple of months.
Netflix has 220 million subscribers. And if you can't make money off of, and that's I think that's in the United States alone. If you can't make money out of that, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling sorry for you.
Well, and part of it is that some of these companies got themselves on the stock market now, and they ruin everything, because they can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But in stock market terms, if you say next quarter we're going to make $10, and then when the quarter's over you only made $9, everybody goes, "Oh, the earnings were down. That's so sad. Woe is me." And then they freak out, right? I mean, the big thing when I worked at Sherwin-Williams was, oh my God, it's the end of the year and we are going to make too much money. We're going to overshoot the earnings.
They didn't think about
next year. They're going to expect more. Go spend money. Just go buy things and cut our profits.
Yeah, but if you were making that much money, did they think about lowering the price of paint?
Fuck
and
no.
passing it on to the consumer?
Right? No, they just go buy things. They said go spend capital money on anything that you can get between now and the end of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Well, I mean, the thing. What were you going to say, Brian?
No, I'm just saying one of the problems that I'm talking to associates with in Lodi, where Lodi is half of everything. We buy everything cheaper in Lodi, Central Valley, and they're asking for cost of living adjustments because some of the people that I've been interviewing lately getting some feedback. These guys are starting to, even in an economy like Lodi, they're having a hard time to survive. And I'm like, wow, that area is very inexpensive to live. And you still have people there that are working for me that are struggling really, really hard.
The economy is on an uptick, okay? It's better. The cost of things should be going down, but they're not going to go down. And I'm going to tell you why. It's like they used to do with marijuana sales when it was illegal. They would say there's a shortage of marijuana, and they would raise the price on the marijuana they had. And all of a sudden, about a half a year later, there was enough marijuana to go around for people to drown in. Do you think they lowered the price? They got their ideas from the marijuana sellers. Do you think that? Do you think?
I mean, the gasoline is like that, right?
You think that chicken? You think that chicken roaster for $25 suddenly, when the economy is just booming, is going to go down to $10 again?
They're going to set their price now.
They set their price. And
Alex, funny you said that. Listen to this. I met somebody for lunch. This kid who used to work with my uncle and me, and he's married.
Somebody that wants to eat lunch with you?
Yeah, he's a nice kid. He's a teacher, so he lives in Jersey. He got married. He gets his, and I'll meet you for pizza for lunch because he had a break from school. So he treated me to pizza. He got a regular slice with chicken on it, $6.50.
What?
Yeah. I said,
wasn't pizza the thing you bought because it was the cheapest thing you could eat?
Yeah. And me and him have the same name. I call him Little Anthony. I said, how much was it? $6.50. And you know what they told me?
Wait a minute, was that for the pizza or for was that for the pizza or a slice?
Just for it also was a regular slice of pizza with some chicken on it, Alex, and a little barbecue sauce.
A slice.
A slice. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what?
Well, I'll tell you, we ordered last night from an Italian restaurant, and we used Uber Eats, which I hate to use.
I never did that yet.
Yeah. And
how much is that?
And it was, I got a little bit of pasta and a little bit of salad that Marjorie and I shared. She got herself kind of a medium-sized pizza. Just take a guess how much that cost us.
Say that again. It was a medium-sized pizza and a salad?
And a salad, and that we shared. And then I got a pasta dish, mushrooms and pasta.
I'm going to say $75.
Well, very good, Tony. You live in New York,
right? Because that's expensive.
It was $78.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy here.
That's low over the top. Yeah.
I'm good
Yeah,
with the
isn't that disgusting?
I mean,
How much fell down?
So we decided we're never ordering out again through Uber Eats. I mean,
because they charge you like a flat rate, I think, just to come to your house. It's like 20
just
bucks.
there's one Chinese place we have been ordering from, and they went over to Uber Eats, so we order from them. You
See, I
know.
walk to get my food. Yeah,
It's
that's
I mean, you would have to think that
You would
would
have
be
changed
better.
right up.
What were you saying, Josh?
It's
I
just
mean, the
sorry.
Chinese one can't be that expensive. I mean, you can buy a fucking drum of rice for, I mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, look, none of this
Could it
stuff
be?
is that expensive. I will say though that if you've got a storefront that serves food and whatever, probably the rent has gone up precipitously.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
do you know what the average rent for a 1-bedroom apartment is in New York City today?
Oh, I'm pretty good with this. My brother's telling me. 3,500?
Keep going.
Holy shit, it's more than that? $4,000?
5,000 is the average. 5,000 a month.
I wonder what your apartment in the Lower East Side is now, Alex.
I don't know. I remember when I first moved to New York City, I had a very nice apartment up in Riverdale. That's where Archie and Veronica live. Very nice, and it was really terrific. And it was, I think, $300 a month.
I wonder what that is now up there.
Oh, it's got to be at least 5,000. Okay.
Yeah, easy, because that's a nice area.
I mean, prices have stabilized, and some things, have come back down. Some of your non-food products and things, like wood and certain other things, like there for a while, 2x4s were like $7, $8. I mean, it was craziness, I mean, things did come back to normal, I bought gasoline here today for like $2.70.
Wow, that's good.
Which is, very good. I mean, because that's
well.
what I said
Let me take this
2 weeks
back.
ago.
That is good in comparison to where it has been. It's
Sure,
not good in
right.
comparison to where it was.
And I remember, I think like 2 weeks ago or something, I told you guys on a Saturday that I bought gas for like $2.65, and I was pumping it thinking, oh, that must be Joe Biden's fault too,
Well, that's what getting back to the original thing that I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's the reason Biden's got a really hard job coming up, because everybody perceives that the reason I'm shelling out and having to pay more money for this stuff because they feel it is Joe Biden's fault, but it's not Joe Biden's fault. He's done everything he can as president, like whatever they do over the economic guys in raising the rates and this and that and so on to keep the prices down. He's done everything he can do, but there's very little a president can do to keep prices down.
Yeah,
You could talk about it.
Huh?
You
What?
could present it to everybody and say, the prices, we all know the prices and such has gone down. And I'd like all the presidents of all of these companies to think about if there's an opportunity.
And you know what they're going to do,
to cut it
Jeff?
down.
You know what they're going to do, Jeff?
You gotta live.
They're going to laugh and keep doing what they're doing because
probably.
because again, let's go back to the stock market. They want
Oh, right,
that,
yeah.
they want to do good on the stock market.
I mean, that's the deal. That's the problem. Is if you beat your earnings, that's good, right? In a theory, but then you have to set up your next quarter based on some of that, and it's going to be difficult to do it. So
let me ask Brian something here, because he lives in California, and I always remember California as a place where if gas was cheap everywhere else in the country, it was most expensive in California. Just because they heap tax upon tax upon tax in there. How's your gas prices lately? Because you are driving a gas-driven automobile.
So both of my cars take Supreme,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm paying about $5 a gallon.
That's a lot.
On average right now.
Yeah, but
you're
paying
octane though. That's
cheaper.
not,
You're paying about
91 octane. There's a couple places that's like $4.65. I have my little secret places, and then there are places up to $5.25.
honestly, and for that type of fuel in California, that's less than what I thought he was going to say.
Really?
So I run regular in my vehicle here in the Bay Area, not far from Brian, and I'm paying about $4.50 a gallon.
Wow.
Yeah, that's about right.
You get a
Wow.
big car.
Well, part of the reason is in California, they have heaped tax upon tax on gas prices.
Absolutely.
The actual price of the gasoline is 13 cents, but once they're through, with all the taxes and everything, it's
But Newsom keeps coming back and saying, you know what, we're going to push out these taxes, or we're going to cancel these taxes so it'll be cheaper, and then nothing happens.
Yep.
Well,
Typical politician.
all I'm
other
saying
thing
is to anybody who's
is
listening,
taxes.
don't blame Biden, but I don't think Biden's made a good case for himself out there.
Not yet, right?
He really hasn't. He just recently said that if Trump weren't running, he wouldn't be running either.
What a stupid comment.
Well,
Well,
I
it's
think it should be
probably.
the opposite. If Trump is running, I would get out of the way and let somebody go in there who say, 30 years younger than Trump, read Gavin Newsom, and James Carville, in an interview said that and I've mentioned this before, that anybody who is younger than, say, 60 years old who runs for president could beat Trump. Just anybody. What's the guy who's the head of transportation? Buttigieg. Let him run. He could beat Trump because he's young.
Things are going okay now. There you go.
Yeah. By the way, he's done a very good job. He's really been on the case.
Yeah.
But I think that Biden should get out of the way, and he should name as his successor your governor out there in California.
Jeff is
Newsom is a good speaker
Jeff
too.
could run.
What? What'd you say?
I said Jeff is under 60. He could run.
Yeah, Jeff?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
right.
vote for you.
Right.
78. How about that?
78.
You don't look 78 at all. You look good,
No,
Jeff.
you don't.
You keep
I
yourself.
would have thought closer to 70. It's that you got more hair than I do.
Yeah. By the way, we lost what I don't think a great actor, Ryan.
Ryan O'Neal died. Love
Ryan
Story.
O'Neal
That movie,
died.
Love Story.
Yeah.
Oh,
What?
that's sad.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
My mom liked that movie, Love Story. Remember?
Yeah.
He was in it.
I thought it was one of the worst movies of all time.
Was it a theater or
Absolutely.
no? I
Yeah.
don't
Love
know.
is never having to say you're sorry.
Oh, I'm always watching that movie. Yeah.
Mia Farrow, when she was with the
This is what I
Beatles
used to
in
tell you
India,
guys.
said after the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was chasing her around the dinner table, said, "Love is never having to save your sorry. Love is not having to save your sorry." Okay, well.
This is the treat that I get right when I come out of the car.
She's been watching too many
Is she
sci-fi
waiting?
movies.
Does she wait by the door for you like a dog?
Yeah.
No, but she hears the garage door open, so she knows I'm here. So
Yeah.
And you got gifts for her: money, candy, what?
Oh, it's Friday.
no, a hug.
She's
That's all she
Uh,
does.
I'll call you. Say pick something up on the way home.
she's his daddy, and she's a good daddy, so that's why.
She was with us at the infamous lunch, and she was good.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll get to meet her someday.
Yes,
Or go to lunch with us.
we're gonna do New York for sure coming up.
All right.
Well, what I was told, it was lunch between you and Steve Fox, right? And then somehow you thought to invite a few other people.
Yeah. Well, Steve and I kept talking, said we got to meet up to show, to check out each other's cars, and then we decided this day, and then just said, hey, see if Phil and Alan want to go. So
Yeah. Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
There she is.
she has a Christmas recital tomorrow.
Oh,
The
congratulations.
Christmas
I heard the
recital.
story different. I heard the story that Phil invited everybody. Funny.
That's
funny
not the case. That's not the case at all.
Well, he's not here to defend himself. He won't call, so
He won't
screw
call.
him.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's welcome to call. Although at the present time, I can't stand him. You know?
Did you fix? I'm sorry. Did you fix the thing with Amy?
Yeah. I mentioned at the beginning of the show.
I'm sorry.
I got online with her today. She thought she had it solved, then she didn't, and I found out what was wrong.
Good.
And it was just, you know, it's always something that you didn't switch one way or another, or that got switched because Skype all of a sudden decided to change everything on your computer, you know.
Of course.
But you should have there should be a show tonight.
Okay, good. Thank you.
With Amy.
Is Amy smart enough to do Zoom?
No, we've talked about she has Zoom, but we have talked about it, and she's not that she kind of is okay with Skype, you know. But if she wants to do Zoom, we'll work that one out with her, you know. And she also knows she can put that up on her Facebook page and stuff like that, you know. So,
go upstairs.
Yeah, bye.
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 She's annoying me, and then she goes, "Can I go upstairs?" I said, "Yes, bye."
Oh boy, she's a great kid, you know.
How did she annoy you? She was so good at lunch that day and everything.
Very easily. No, she has her recital tomorrow, so she's getting antsy and dancing all around and stuff like that. So
what are they doing? Are they doing a Christmas?
Yeah, Christmas. So they have everybody from the little toddler girls, and then the different ages, and they each do a couple songs out there. So it's good. Stuff they've been rehearsing for a while.
Yeah. Somebody named Stanley here, who I've never seen in our chat room before, said Nikki Haley could beat Joe Biden. Do you think so?
I don't think so.
Possibly.
I don't know.
She's probably the best qualified Republican.
She's the one. Well, as I've said, she's the one Republican, though I would never vote for her because I don't like her politics particularly.
Yeah,
but she is the one person that if she won, I wouldn't feel bothered by. Do you feel that way, Josh? You know, I don't find her a big problem.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would be bothered as in I thought that she would be corrupt or crooked, but I even with Christie or with any of them, they crossed the line of politics of pure opportunity. They are only saying the things they are saying now because that was where they could carve out a place for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And if they could carve out a place for themselves by loving Trump, they would. I think that's exactly what they would be doing.
I don't think Chris Christie would at this point.
I think that he would. Those people have no integrity. You cannot erase the past for me, and it was not that long ago. I mean, if it was 50 years ago, I maybe I could see it, but this was 2 years, just 2 years ago. He was a great man, and if you and I didn't like him, we weren't real Americans. And I can't.
But I can't see.
Trump has nicknames for all these guys. Trump goes and talks all this smack, and then when they think that they have an opportunity, like Josh is saying, to get a job from him, they all kiss his ass, and they forget that he just called his wife. What did he call Cruz's wife? You know, and all this stuff, and they have no integrity at all.
Yeah,
none at all.
That's correct. But you know, the fact is that, for instance, DeSantis. I mean, he has just vilified DeSantis.
Yeah, he hates him.
And DeSantis still won't deny him.
I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that I don't think some of the things that she said or that Christie said they might not have a belief of, such as that he's unfit or things like that. I'm saying that they may genuinely believe those things, but my point is, I think they also believed those things 3 or 4 years ago, and they knew it, and they still wouldn't say it publicly and worked for him with the spotlight.
What is it? Just quickly, because we're running out of time here, and I need a simple. Give us a simple answer, okay? What is it about Trump that just they're afraid? Even you're in a debate. You're running for president, or for trying to get the nomination. You're up against Trump. Shouldn't you be saying bad things about Donald Trump? Isn't that the way you campaign? Oh, my candidate, if he, plus you got so much material. I mean, Trump basically is saying if he's elected back into office, he's basically going to be Hitler. He's basically going to be a Nazi. Okay?
They're all cheering for this like a nut house.
Yeah,
really.
and he's not lying to you. If you
he might be right. He's being honest.
If you vote for him, and if you vote for him, you're voting to end our democracy. Okay, I'll say that plain and simple. And that's not because I'm paranoid about him or because I don't like him. I absolutely love Donald Trump. Otherwise, but I mean, it's just amazing, amazing.
Bizarro.
That people go, oh, I'm going to vote for him. What? I mean, the guy who says that on day one he's going to be a dictator?
I'll kill you on day one. You got my vote.
That's right.
Yeah.
Really? What's going on here?
Well, that's because they've turned that into this little niche now where being a dictator means building the damn border fence. That's fine with me. They don't need to ask no Congress for that. They've turned it into that. It's making an excuse for the things that they can't get done within our system that they just a few weeks ago or a few years ago claimed they loved, So why that's happening, man, I don't know. You're going to get a psychologist on for that because it's...
Yeah.
I'm only trained to analyze what did happen. I don't know that I'm well enough trained to analyze what is happening.
Yeah.
I mean it's complete stupidity.
Yeah.
So I mean that's what I'm saying. I won't say like Nikki Haley or Christie or anyone the rest of them even are like bad people or anything like that like we were talking about earlier. I just don't like the way that a lot of that happened. I think they do believe those things. I think they believed them 3 years ago, but I think they overlooked them to get where they are today.
Well, Nikki Haley was in fact Trump's envoy to the UN.
Mm-hmm.
These are people that were currying his favor at one point, but they were currying his favor while he was president of the United States, and that makes a little more sense than if you curry him when he's running around saying, I'm going to be a dictator on day one.
Mm-hmm.
This is ridiculous, and why you don't just get up there and vilify him. And what's his name? DeSantis couldn't run for dog catcher right now. I mean, he is just so weak, and he doesn't even know how to smile. That's the real fun part of it.
He was supposed to be the big man. Remember, he was.
Well, by the way, I'm about ready to play the theme here. And when I play it, I'm going to turn up my... Hold on a second. Let me turn up my speaker here. Tell me if you hear it. I think that what happens is on, what do you call it, on this system, Zoom, they block out music that isn't paying royalties. Although this is. But listen, can you hear it? Wait a minute. Can't hear it, huh?
Nothing.
I'm playing it really loud, and I've got the speaker up and everything. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, well, anyway, the theme is playing. Hey, thanks, everybody. I've really enjoyed this. Brian, thanks for sticking with us through that arduous ride. And please tell Adrienne it was nice to see her mug. Also, thank you so much, Josh. I'll see you tomorrow night. But don't plan on hearing it, folks, because... we say things.
Don't go to dinner. Don't go to dinner together, though. Then we're gonna get upset.
Yeah. Okay. Tony, thank you for being here. Jeff, thank you, and a big thank you to Alan as well. Everybody, give a big wave goodbye, and I will give a big wave goodbye at you. Okay. There they go. That's the citizen panel for tonight, folks, and they'll be back again next week. A lot of them. I will see you on Monday, right, for the pop-up show that goes out over Facebook at 4 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Time. And then I'll see you again. Let's see here. Oh, yes. Well, first of all, let me say Amy Manuel is next with The Intersection. You can call her at Gabnet Live on Skype. I'll see you again on Wednesday, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Night, everybody. Have a good weekend.